Okay, so we are online now. So sorry about that little delay. Let me share the screen again. Okay, before I just share the screen, so let's just recap what we have done so far. Today we are meeting for the third session on the crash course. In the first session, we covered the introduction to Bhagavad-Gita, what Bhagavad-Gita is all about, the history behind it, and what are the topics of Bhagavad-Gita. So we discussed there are five major topics: the Atma, the soul; the Paramatma, the super soul; the third topic is karma, the actions to be performed in this world; fourth is the material nature or the prakriti; and fifth is time or kala, the time frame within which all the activities are done. So that was the introduction. And second session we talked about the soul, what is the characteristics of soul, how the relationship between the soul and the body. And we ended up our session with the first lesson from Bhagavad Gita, which is we are not this body, we are a spirit soul. That is the first and the fundamental teaching of Bhagavad Gita. Again, that is the most fundamental teaching one has to understand. We cannot understand any other further topics of Bhagavad Gita if this topic is not clear, or this principle is not clear, that we are not this body, we are a spirit soul. This is the fundamental teaching of Bhagavad Gita. And today, now we are carrying on this third session, and today we're going to speak about the Paramatma or the super soul. So who is Paramatma? What is super soul? In other words, who is God? So we'll talk about God today. So God has many features, and we'll talk about the Paramatma, and then we'll talk about the other two features of the Lord, the Brahman and Bhagavan. So let me just share my screen with you, and we go forward from there. Okay, so today we're talking about Paramatma, the super soul. So this is this very beautiful shloka from Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, Sarvasa chaham riddhi sanivishto, mattaha smritir jnanam apohanam cha, vedescha sarvar ahamev vedyo, vedantakrit vedavid eva chaham. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come intelligence, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. So in this shloka, Krishna says, I am seated in everyone's heart. So last week, we discussed about the soul and said, where is the location of the soul? Where does the soul reside in our body? So we said it resides in the heart. And again, in this shloka, Krishna said, I am seated in everyone's heart. Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Krishna, and here Krishna is saying, I am seated in everyone's heart. So that means in the heart, there are two living entities, two souls there. One is the soul and one is the super soul. And we can see that Krishna is talking to Arjuna. Then who is this person who is in the heart? So that person in the heart, he is called Paramatma or the super soul. The Atma is the, we discussed last week, it is the soul, and Param means super, so Param Atma. So this is the information we get from Bhagavad Gita, that Krishna or the God is in everyone's heart. So he says, Krishna says, I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So this is where we begin our understanding about the Paramatma from here on. So now let's go in deeper. So we said Param Atma, super soul. Super means Param, and Atma means soul. So Paramatma is a localized form of God. God is everywhere, but the God is so merciful, He is in everybody's heart. He is living in my heart, is living in your heart, is living in everybody's heart. is does not just live in the heart of Indians or Americans or Britishers or every living entity. Every human is living, and not only humans. Every living entity, be it the animals or plants, but the Krishna or the God lives with them, lives with the living entity. But especially for the human beings, he is a localized form of God. God is always with us. Generally, when we talk about God, the immediate question comes about, where is God? Can you show me? But actually, God is right there within our heart. He's there. He is so closer to us than we can ever imagine. In the scripture, it is said the God is more closest than the closest can be close. He's so close to our soul. So he's a localized form of the Lord, and he is the most closest to soul. Uh, we do not have to search the God everywhere and anywhere. He's just there, next to us. We are our as a soul. We are living in the heart, and the Lord is just there next to us. Super soul is just next to us, and He's super conscious. Now here the difference starts with the soul and the Paramatma. The soul, it is only aware of this body. It is only conscious. Consciousness only pervades in this one body. But this Paramatma or the super soul, he is conscious of all the bodies, all the living entities. Uh, for example, I am just aware of my body. While I'm sitting here, I can feel my leg, I can feel my hand. If there's a scratch, I have to scratch my body. I'm only conscious of this one body. But the Lord, Paramatma, he is the super conscious. He is super conscious of all living entities. Uh, as a soul, we remember the what happened in the past, what I am thinking, what I am feeling, what I am willing. The soul is only aware within the purview of this body. But the Lord, um, he knows the thinking, feeling, and willing of all living entities. So this is very nice to know, but it is also a little scary because Lord, He knows everything. When you say Lord knows everything, His all-knowing concept or all-knowing energy comes from this fact that is there in every living entity. Uh, so He is super conscious of everything. He knows past, present, and future. He knows what is going through, what everybody is going through in their this body, what happened in the past body, or what is going to happen in the future. He's super conscious. So this is the difference between our consciousness, the consciousness of individual soul, and the consciousness of the supreme soul. He's super conscious. And the next, he is the witness. Uh, he is the witness of all our activities. His witness of where we are looking at, what we are desiring, what we are acting, what activities we do, uh, what we are thinking of any other person or anything. He is witness of everything what we are doing. So this is the another potency of the Lord, that through his witness potency, he can um, uh, give the reward or the punishment to all the living entities according to what activities they have done. So he is a witness of everything. Hmm. It is said that nothing goes unnoticed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nothing goes beyond. He says, nothing, nobody can get away because he is the witness. The Lord, the Super Soul, is the witness of all we think, feel, and will, and all the activities that we are doing. He is a witness of everything, and he is the eternal companion in every birth. Hmm? In last week, we talked about the soul, and soul resides in the body, and the soul transmigrate from body to body. So when the death comes, the soul finds the body unusable, so it goes to the another body. Depending, his activities, and we cover that into the next section of karma. According to his desire and what he deserves, he goes to another body. So the soul moves from one body to another body, but the super soul also moves from one body to another body. He is the constant, not constant in the sense, says he is the eternal companion in every birth. Uh, so Lord is the Suridam Sarvabhutanam, is the most uh, loving friend, and we'll know how he is loving friend. So when the soul, or the super soul living in our heart, what does it do? Uh, so in the shloka that we just recited, he is giving the all knowledge, and he gives the remembrance, and he gives the forgetfulness also. So when the soul moves from one body to another body, how does the soul know how to act in that particular body? So the super soul, he gives the knowledge from within the heart, uh, that what is to do, and he gives the remembrance, how particular things to be done, and he also gives the forgetfulness. I give one example that we all see these beautiful documentaries of animal kingdom and all. Uh, in the animal kingdom of tortoise, the tortoise, they come out of the sea and lay their eggs, on the in the sand, deep in the sand, and then the mother leaves. Uh, the After sometimes the eggs hatch, and all the little baby tortoise, they come out, and when they come out, there are the predators who eat tortoise. They're just hovering on the sky, and the baby tortoise, they have to run. As soon as they come out of the egg, they have to run towards the ocean. Otherwise, the predators will come and they'll eat them. So one can ask question: how does the tortoise, who has just come out of the shell of the egg, how does he know that he has to run towards the ocean? First of all, where does he know that where exactly he is and he has to run towards the ocean? Where does that information come from? They just come out of the egg. The mother is not around. Who is giving that intelligence? Who is giving that ability? Who is that knowledge to run towards the ocean? It is the Paramatma living in the ocean, living in the heart of that tortoise. Uh, uh, and then we take the so many other examples. Mm. So the Lord in the heart, he gives this knowledge and remembrance, and the Lord says, I also give the forgetfulness. Now one may ask questions: why does the Lord make us forget the things of the past? Wouldn't it be good to that we remember everything of the past? Actually, the answer is, it is good that we are not remembering the past lives. Uh, if you see in our own life, uh, if we make the balance sheet of our happiness and our painful conditions, and miseries, they are on the heavier side. Uh, when we leave this body, generally people are so attached to their home, their wealth, their family members. It's a very painful condition. Uh, and leaving that all thing, uh, it is so painful. So when you take the another birth, the Lord make us forget that, so that pain goes away. Uh, so it is Lord's mercy that He gives us forgetfulness. Otherwise, can you imagine, remembering all our family members, our activities, in the past? Because, oh, I lost so much. The life we will be eternally living in the depression if you remember everything that has happened in the past. So Lord gives us forgetfulness. Also, the Lord gives forgetfulness because we want forgetfulness. The living entities, uh, they want to enjoy separate from Krishna. That is one of the reason the living entities they come into this material world. Again, this is a topic for future sessions, but we'll just touch a little bit on that one. That living entities' desire is to enjoy separate from Krishna. So he wants to forget Krishna. He wants to forget that he is the um, he is not this body. He is a super soul. The soul wants to forget that. He wants to forget that he's part of Krishna. So Krishna he makes them forget, gives that forgetfulness. So the Paramatma living in the heart, he gives these three things: knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. And Krishna or the super soul is the supreme well-wisher of the all living entities. Suridam Sarva Bhutanam. So he's supreme well-wisher. He is a friend of all living entities. So in the scriptures, we are given this analogy of two birds on a tree. So these two birds, they the one of the bird is the soul, the individual living entity, and second bird is the super soul. Now the individual living entity, he once goes on and wants to try the various fruits of the tree. So sometimes he tastes the bitter fruit and sometimes he tastes the sweet fruit, and he's struggling very hard, going round and round and testing these various different fruits. And the super soul, he's witnessing everything. The second bird on the tree, the super soul is witnessing everything, and he's just waiting uh, for this individual soul to turn to him. That I'm struggling too hard to be happy in this tree. Can you please help me? The super soul is just waiting for that moment, but the individual soul is just busy in tasting various fruits of this world. Similarly, we as a soul, we have come into this material world. We want to enjoy so many various things. We want to experiment so many various things of this world. But the Paramatma in the heart, it is just waiting for us. A day when the soul will say, "My dear Lord, I have struggled a lot in this material world. Now, can you please tell me how can I actually become very happy and get out of this very miserable condition?" The super soul is just waiting for the individual soul to turn to him. And he is patiently waiting to serve. Here, my dear friend, something, we may not have heard this before. But actually, the God, the super soul, wants to serve us. He wants us to become happy and he wants to help us. So that is the supreme kindness or the love of the Lord. First of all, he never leaves us, and he's waiting to serve us, to come to take us out of this miserable condition. And the last and the very important aspect of Lord's mercy, the Lord does not give up on soul even though neglected by soul birth after birth. Now this is the supreme, tolerance or the mercy of the Lord. The birth after birth, the individual soul is trying to enjoy the fruits of this material world in so many ways. And the Lord is waiting, my dear child, you come to me, I'll tell you, how to become happy always. But we have neglected the Lord. The soul is neglecting the Lord. Uh, um, and we are neglecting the Lord birth after birth. Not just once, twice, in all our previous journeys, we have neglected the Lord. Now you can see, you can experiment it by yourself. Suppose you love somebody and that person is not grateful to you. You want to help that person with all your sincerity, all your uh, resources, and with the complete sincerity you want to help that person. But as you're trying to help that person, he neglects you, he rejects you. Huh? So that person, he stays for one time. Okay, after some time, when you are in a better condition, I'll help you. But we can experiment with ourselves. If somebody rejects us and neglects us constantly, at some point we'll say, this person, it is, I cannot help him anymore. We become angry, we become frustrated. But Lord is never becomes angry or frustrated with us. He is our friend eternally. However many times we neglect him, we reject him, but he will never ever leave us. He will be always be there with us, as our companion in any birth that we take, either we are as a human or an animal or a bird or a plant or a microbe or a reptile, doesn't matter where we are. He is always accompanying that individual soul in every body that he is migrating through. So this is the Lord's supreme, mercy, supreme tolerance, supreme love, that He never ever gives up on the living soul, on the living that individual soul. Now let's move on to the next aspect of the Lord. Or we talked about the Paramatma. So Paramatma is just the one feature of the God, and God has three features. So the other feature is Brahman. The Brahman is the all-pervading, impersonal energy of the Lord. Hmm? We understand from Bhagavad-Gita that everything comes from the Lord. One shloka I will read it in a few slides. That everything comes from the Lord. Everything is the energy of the Lord. So the Lord, His energy is there everywhere, and we can experience uh, the existence and the presence of the Lord through everything that we see around us. So that is the impersonal, all-pervading feature of the Lord. In the Sanskrit, it is called Brahman. And next is the Paramatma, which we just discussed. It is the localized form in everyone's heart. The Lord is residing in everyone's heart, and that feature is called Paramatma. The next is Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The personality of God Himself. Uh, so the first is the all-pervading. The Lord's energy and the Lord is present in everything that we see around us. All-pervading feature of the Lord. That is Brahman. Second is Paramatma, His localized form in our heart. The third is Bhagavan, the person, the personality of God, the person, God, He Himself. So let's go a little deeper. But before that, let's take this analogy, how we can understand these three aspects of the Lord. So in the scriptures, we can take the example of sunlight, sun disk, and the sun god. Uh, Now we see right now, we are all sitting in our rooms, but can you see the sun? Yeah, we see the sunlight outside, everything is bright. That is the energy of the Lord. That is the all-pervading energy of the sun. Uh, you can see everywhere the sun rays are spread. So you can feel the presence of the sun just by looking at the light. That is the all-pervading feature of the sun, which is the Brahman. So the Lord is all-pervading, and that feature is called Brahman. So the next is sun disk. So when we come out and we say, oh, where is this sunrise? The sunlight is coming from. Then we see, oh, there is the nice bright, planet, or the star, sun. You see the sun disk. From there, all the sunlight is coming from. So that is the Paramatma, the local feature. You can see the source of this light. So for us, it is the Paramatma. He is there in our heart, the Paramatma. So there is a localized feature of the Lord. But then you go a little further, there is a person, sun god, the person sun who is managing the entire planet sun. So he is the source of the Brahman and Paramatma feature. And that is the ultimate understanding of the Bhagwan feature of the Lord, the person Bhagwan or the person, sun god. So these three example, these one example we can understand these three feature: Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagwan. Brahman is like sun rays, Paramatma is the sun disk or localized form, and Bhagwan is the sun, the person sun himself, the person who is controlling the sun planet. And who worships these three features of the Lord? We are all individuals and we all get attracted towards the various features of the Lord. So Brahman feature, it is worshipped by the impersonalists, and it is the incomplete understanding of the Lord. The Brahman feature, those who are impersonalists, who consider the Lord as formless, who has got no form, they or they consider the Lord as no personality. There is no person, only the energy. They are they worship the Brahman feature of the Lord, the impersonalist. And the Paramatma is worshipped by the yogis, or the meditators. It is higher understanding than Brahman, but it is still partial understanding. So Brahman understanding of the Lord, it is very good, but it is still incomplete understanding. The Paramatma, it is a partial understanding, and Paramatma feature is worshipped by the yogis, those who are meditating the Lord through meditation, on the form of the Lord in the heart. So they are the yogis. And the Bhagwan feature, it is the worship by the devotees of the Lord, and that is the complete realization of the personality of Godhead. So those who are devotees of the Lord, they worship the Bhagwan feature of the Lord, the personality of the Lord himself. So Prabhupada, he gives this very beautiful analogy of how do we understand, again, these three features, Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagwan. So this is a story of a train in a village. So some years back, when the train was a new invention, there was a village where these tracks were laid, and it was the first day a first ever train was about to come in this village. But in the village, all the villagers, they were all busy in their farms, in their field. So the village head, he ordered one of his servant, can you please go and find out what does this train look like? And you give me the news. This coming for the first time. We have never seen what this train look like. You please go ahead and tell and give me the information. How does this train look like? So he sends about 3-4 people, and they all went as a team, and they are all waiting on the platform, and the train was about to come. First there was nothing, but then suddenly the sea, there is, in old days it was a steam engine, so all the smoke was coming out. So there was smoke in the sky, and there was a sound, coming of train sound, chuk, 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 and then some big noise was coming. So the one person, he says, let me go and give this news to my village head that I have seen the train. I've just seen the train, and I'll be the first to give him the news. So he goes ahead and he tells the village chief that I've seen the train. So village chief says, how does it look like? Oh, train is like there's a smoke and there's a sound coming from that smoke. So this is the train. This is how the train looks like. So the other person who was still over there on the platform, they were all waited. So the train came a little closer. So when the train came a little closer, he saw that actually there's a smoke, there is a sound, there is an engine, the locomotive in the front of the train. Then there are so many compartments or bogies in the train. So he said, now let me go. I have seen the train. Let me go. Give the information to my village chief. So he goes ahead and tells the village chief, oh, I have seen the train. Oh, but says village chief says, I know train is like a smoke and a sound. He says, no, there is something more to it. The train, it has got a smoke and a sound, but there is a engine which is in the front, and then there are compartments. Then the engine pulls the train. And this is how the train looks like. So village says, oh nice, now I know something more about the train. Uh, and then the third person who was still waiting there on the platform, and he understands, oh actually there's a sound, there's a smoke, then there's the compartments, and then the end locomotive. But there is a person inside the locomotive. He's controlling this locomotive, and this is how the whole train is moving. And then there are, the ticket collectors. There are passengers. There are doors. There are the seats arrangement inside. There is first class. There is second class. There is so many details is in there. So he makes the full, complete understanding of the train. Then he spends quite a good time, and then he goes back to the village chief and he says, "Oh, I've seen the train." The village chief says, "Oh, I already know the train. It has got a smoke, it has got a sound, and it has got a locomotive, and then it is a compartment behind." He says, "No, no, there is something more to it. That locomotive, it runs on the fuel of coal, and there is a person who runs that locomotive. Without that person, the train will not run. And then there is the ticket collector, and there are passengers, and there are so many compartments are there, first class, second class, and there's a signal system. So many details are there." And then village chiefs, "Oh, now I know what the train looks like." So my dear friends, uh, with this analogy, we can understand that the first person who went and gave the knowledge about how the train looks like, a smoke and a sound, yes, it is part of the God, but it is the Brahman feature of the Lord. There is some understanding of the God, but it is still incomplete. The second person, he has some more information about the train. The second, like Paramatma, yes, the Lord is all pervading. His energy is everywhere. The Lord in the Paramatma resides in everyone's heart. So that person who said there is locomotive and there are compartments, he has better understanding, but still not the complete understanding, the partial understanding. He does not know how the train runs. The third person who knows the driver of the locomotive, and he knows how the whole train works, he has got the complete understanding of the train. Yes, there is a sound, there is a smoke, there is a locomotive and compartments, but there is a person who is running the whole train. Without this person, the whole train cannot move. So then he has the full, complete understanding of how the train looks like and what controls the train. That is the Bhagwan understanding. That is the complete realization. So the Brahman is the incomplete realization of God. Paramatma is the partial understanding, and Bhagwan is the complete understanding of the Lord. So this is this beautiful analogy of this train. And let's move on to the next section. I'm just wary of time. I hope we finish in the time that we want to finish. So we all now talked about the Bhagavan. Now what is this Bhagavan? The word Bhagavan, many of us may not have heard this before, or we may have heard, but we don't know what does it mean. So Bhaga means opulence. Opulence is of many kinds. So we know what are the different kinds of opulence the Lord has. So Bhaga means opulence, and one means one who possesses this opulence, the possessor of opulence. So that is the meaning of Bhagavan, one who possesses the opulence. So what are the various kinds of opulence that the Lord he is possessing? There are six opulences, and not in particular order, but we'll go with the first one. First one is the strength. The Lord is supremely strong. Uh, uh, all the strength, all the power that we can ever see in this world, it it is possessed by the Lord. Mhm. Uh, when Krishna came in this world, he lifted the Govardhan hill when he was just 7-year-old, 6-year-old, 6, 7-year-old child. So all the strength that you see in this world, it comes from the Bhagwan, from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The next is the wealth. The wealth is the all the possessions in this world, all the material possessions, all the items in this world. Who is the owner of these items? So it is the Lord, the Bhagwan, the the God. He possesses all the wealth. The next is knowledge. Uh, the Lord possesses all the knowledge of everything. Uh, I might be possessing some knowledge about computers. Some of you might be possessing some knowledge about the medical science. Somebody might be some business or law. But the Lord possesses the knowledge of everything. Is a supremely knowledgeable, and Lord is very beautiful. He's a source of all beauty. If you see any beauty in this world, the source is in the Lord, in the Bhagwan. And next is fame. Fame is also opulence. Uh, People in this world, they spend fortune to become famous in this world. The Lord is famous everywhere. The Bhagwan or the God is famous everywhere. One may ask questions, how about the people who do not believe in God? Well, if they think that God does not exist, then why they are talking about the God? Why you discuss about something or spend time on proving that something does not exist? That means God is famous even within the non-believers, those who are atheists. So Lord is famous everywhere. And the last and but the not least, the renunciation. Even though the Lord is supremely strong, He is wealthy, He is knowledgeable, He is beautiful, and He is famous everywhere, still He is not attached to any of this opulence. That itself is the opulence. He is renounced, He is not attached on any of these things. Uh, so in this world, we see the various many people are very famous, or they become people look after them, or they make them their hero depending on one of or some of these populace that they possess. Somebody is a very good athlete, or somebody is a big boxer or karate champion, or strongest man. He becomes very famous. People get attracted towards them. Why? Because they have this quality of strong. They are strong, the strength. Or somebody is a bit wealthy. You know, some years back, person A was very wealthy, and now person B is very wealthy, and they have some billions of pounds or dollars in their accounts. And they possess some sort of wealth, some little insignificant part of the wealth of this earth. People become very attracted. Oh, he's a very wealthy person, so we get attracted towards them. And there are some other persons who are knowledgeable, some philosophers, some doctors, some lawyers, because of their knowledge, their PhDs, the professors. We get attracted towards them. Oh, they got so much knowledge about particular subject matter. And then beauty. All these film stars, heroines, or the models, anybody who looks any beautiful, everybody gets attracted towards them. They hang the pictures or posters of their pose or the particular feature of their body. Get so much attracted towards their body, and they practically worship them, because they are very beautiful. It is the opulence. And then there is the fame. People become famous because of various opulence that they may have. And renunciation. The This is one of the most attractive opulence one can possess. We see in this history of mankind, the most famous person are those who are the great renounced person. And one of the example we can give is Lord Jesus Christ. You see, Jesus Christ. Now, how many churches are there in His name? How many songs are there in His praise? And what is the opulence of Jesus Christ? Is renounced and is not attached to any of this opulence. So we, as a living entity, we get attracted towards these opulences. Uh, but the Lord or the Bhagwan, He has these opulences in completeness. We may have some strength to lift something or be powerful in some way, but we cannot say I am the supremely strong, or somebody cannot say I am supremely strong. He has some part of the strength. Similarly, somebody is have little wealth, somebody is little knowledgeable, but the Lord, He possesses all these opulences in completeness. He is all strengthful. All the strength comes from Him. He possesses all the strength. He possesses all the wealth of this world. He is the supremely knowledgeable. All knowledge, in fact, comes from Him. He is supremely beautiful, and is supremely famous, and is supremely renounced. So these are the opulences of the Bhagwan. So when somebody has this so much opulences, he is called Bhagwan. If somebody possesses all this opulence in completeness, then he is called Bhagwan. So we cannot call anybody else Bhagwan, because he may be strong, he may be knowledgeable, but he is not um, possessing all complete knowledge or complete strength. But the Lord, He possesses all of them in fullness, in completeness. That's why He is called Bhagwan. Now, Bhagwan, as he said, he is the possessor of this opulence. So, Bhagwan, he must have some name also. So, what name can be given to the Bhagwan or the God? Uh, so, as we know, the six opulence make God very attractive. Anybody who has this opulence, the six opulence, he becomes very attractive. So, Lord or the Bhagwan is very attractive because he possesses all this opulence in completeness. Hmm. And Sanskrit word for attractiveness, it is called akarshan or karshan. That if somebody becomes very attractive, in Sanskrit it is called karshan or akarshan. You become attracted towards them. So everybody in this world, they are attracted towards God because of his possessions of these six opulence. So and because that makes the Lord very attractive. So therefore, one of the most famous name of God, I guess you can know now that his most famous name is Krishna, and Krishna means the all attractive. Uh, this the word akarshan. Why the God is very attractive, because he possesses all six opulences, and that makes him very attractive. And that's why God has many names, but one of his most appropriate name is Krishna. So this Krishna, actually it's a universal name. It is not just name of God just limited to the Vedic religion. Actually it is the universal name. Uh, uh, Sometimes back, one of our devotee, very famous devotee, he was discussing with one person from different faith, and they were, he was arguing uh, very strongly that why worship Krishna. He says, the devotee says, why not? Uh, so he said, your God is not famous, he is not supremely powerful, not beautiful. So even your God is Krishna. Krishna means all attractive. The God means is all attractive. So the most appropriate name of one can give to God is Krishna. Hmm? And next, let's see this beautiful form of the Lord. This is this picture of Radha and Krishna. You can see, this the all attractiveness of the Lord here. And this picture, you can just spend rest of your life looking at this picture because it's so attractive. What do we need in our life? Then they just looking at this Lord and his beautiful, picture, beautiful form. So today we talked about the Paramatma, the super soul, and how the Paramatma has and the God has different features, and one of the feature is God, which is the complete realization, and the God is named Krishna. Now we are going to conclude our today's session with the little summary. And our last session we concluded with the uh, first lesson of Bhagavad Gita. We are not this body, we are a spirit soul. Now, in this session, we'll go one step ahead. What is the second lesson that we learn from Bhagavad Gita? So, so to summarize, the supreme love of Krishna is that as a Paramatma, he never leaves us. He does not give up, though we neglect him birth after birth. He's a supremely merciful friend, and he's eager to serve the Lord or the God. He wants to serve the Lord. And here is in this picture, why picture is given. The Arjuna, he is the living entity and Krishna is God. But here you see Krishna is the chariot driver of Arjuna. So Lord actually wants to serve us, wants to help us. So this is the supreme love of the Lord, supreme love of Krishna, that he wants to serve us. He doesn't want us to suffer. We are suffering because our own uh, uh, neglect of him, and when we are so adamant to be miserable in this world. So this is the conclusion of our today's session, and let's make the lesson. What is the lesson that we learn? Now this is the shloka from chapter 7 verse 4, which Krishna describes of the body. So yes, last time we understood that this body is made up of 8 elements, 5 gross and 3 subtle. So this is the shloka. We already covered it. I'll just repeat it again. So Krishna says in 7.4, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence and false ego. Altogether, these 8 comprises my separated material energies. So Krishna says these are the material components, and our body is made up of these material components. So we are not this body, we are a spirit soul. So the material body is composed of these material elements. So this is the composition of the body. And then Krishna, he talks about what is the origin of soul. What is the soul made up of what is this, the origin of soul? So here Krishna says, besides this inferior nature, that means the material nature, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego, this is the inferior nature. So Krishna says, besides this inferior nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is a superior energy of mind, which are all living entities. So Krishna is saying, other than these material elements, there is another superior energy. And what is a superior energy? The living entities. The soul, it is superior to matter, and which are the all living entities, which Krishna says who are struggling with material nature and are sustaining this universe. So the soul, it is superior to material nature, but the soul, because it is identifying with the body, it is struggling in this material universe. So the soul, so origin of soul is that soul actually, it is the energy of Krishna. And the both the shlokas, they are combined into this one shloka where Krishna, he says, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So let's take this shlok one by one. So Krishna says, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. So Krishna says, I am the source of all matter, mind, intelligence, false ego, earth, water, fire, air, ether. All of them, all material nature comes from Krishna. Then says, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. All the spiritual also comes from Krishna. So in last shloka, Krishna says that spiritual, the superior energy, that is also coming from Krishna. So either you see a matter or the spirit soul. They are both coming from Krishna. And then Krishna, he tells further, the wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Those who have understood this knowledge, that who is God, what is spirit soul, and where does this spirit soul come from. So if one has these three knowledge, who am I, who is God, and what is my relationship with God, then they engage in the service of the Lord. In fact, this just takes us to the our next session. In the next week, we'll be talking about the karma, the activities, how we engage, how we act in this material world after understanding I'm not this body, I'm a spirit soul. Hmm? So once we understanding who is God and who am I and what is my relationship with him. So our relationship with Krishna is that we are the same nature as Krishna. We are the superior energy. Hmm? So to conclude our today's session, our first lesson in the last session, if you all remember, our first lesson was we are not this body, we are a spirit soul. That was our first understanding. The first lesson of Bhagavad Gita. We are not this body, we are a spirit soul. And today we are going to conclude with the second lesson. What is the second lesson that we learned from Krishna? That we are part and parcel of Krishna. We as a living entity, we are part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna is a supreme Lord. Krishna, as we said, the name Krishna means all attractive. And we are part of that supreme power. So we say Krishna is God. Why is God? Why is Bhagwan? Because he possesses all six opulences. And then God also has three features, Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagwan. So all this discussion that we did it today, you can just summarize in this second lesson. That I am part and parcel of Krishna. I'm not this body, I'm a spirit soul. But where does this spirit soul come from? It comes from Krishna. So we've established these three facts. I'm not this body, I'm a spirit soul, and this spirit soul is part and parcel of Krishna. This is the second lesson of Bhagavad Gita. Where do we come from? Where does this soul come from? This material body is temporary, it's going to get destroyed, but where does this soul, origin of this soul, and how does this Paramatma or the God and soul, how they are related? So, so that will be now how we are related and how we serve the Lord. Here Krishna is mentioned in the previous sloka. They engage in my devotion service. So as a part and parcel of Krishna and part and parcel of the Lord, your duty is to serve the Lord, to engage in His devotion service. So this is the second lesson of this today's session. So if there's any questions or comments, we can take now. This is the conclusion of our discussion today. I'm going to stop the share now. Oops.